Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Kelly and this is Yaya Simple Living. So for today's video we are going to continue to stock our pantry shelf. We are going to be making 5 shelf-stable dry rice mixes that make a quick side for your dinners. You could add meat to them to make a main dish, casserole. So let me know in the comments below what your favorite rice side dish is. And if this sounds like something that would interest you, let's get cooking. Okay, so our first rice is going to be a cheesy taco rice mix. And I will go ahead and put the links down in the description for you guys for these recipes. I'm going to use 1 cup of rice, and I'm using basmati rice for this. So I'm going to put 1 cup of rice in my jar. And I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of a dry cheese powder, and I'm just using a white cheddar cheese powder. And in this bowl, I have a tablespoon of taco seasoning mix, a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of paprika. I have half a teaspoon of cumin, half a teaspoon of chili powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of sugar. And I'm going to put those in as well. And then to cook this, you could also add 2 tablespoons of dried bell pepper if you want, and also 2 tablespoons of dried corn. I am not putting those in there because this is just a side dish that I'm going to use, and I think by not putting those in there, you can add more variety. So, and I may use these as part of the ingredients in like a burrito or something. So, to cook these, you're going to do a saucepan with 2 cups of water and a tablespoon of butter. You could also add a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce or hot sauce. You're going to bring it to a boil. Reduce it to low and simmer it for 15 to 18 minutes until your rice is tender. And then you could also add a half a cup to a 1/4 cup to a half a cup of shredded cheese if you want it extra cheesy. And I just have the directions written on the top of my jar. So that is our first cheesy taco mix. And I'm going to go ahead and get set up for our herb chicken rice mix. Okay, our next rice is herb chicken rice mix. So we need 2½ cups of rice. There's 1. 2. 1/2. And to that, we are going to add our seasonings, which is 3 tablespoons of chicken bouillon, which we made in a previous video, 1½ tablespoons of dried parsley, a teaspoon of dried thyme. You could add 2 tablespoons of dried onion. However, I'm not adding that because of my allergy. A teaspoon of garlic powder and a half a teaspoon of black pepper. We're going to layer that into our jar. And then we want to cook this. We're going to do a medium pan. We're going to combine 5 cups of water and the ingredients or the contents of the jar. We're going to add a tablespoon of butter or olive oil, bring it to a boil, and then we're going to reduce our heat to low, and we're going to cover and simmer it for 20 to 25 minutes until our rice is tender. And again, I've written the directions on top of the jar. So these are super quick to make, and then also super quick when you want to make them. Everything's already made. You just pour it into water and get cooking. So it's great for weeknight meals, anything. So we're going to make a copycat rice-a-roni. So let me get that set up and I'll be back. Okay, here is our copycat rice-a-roni. We are going to do 2 cups of rice, and you don't want to use instant rice for any of these recipes. So 2 cups of rice, and I'm using a short grain rice just because that's what I like with this. And 1 cup of vermicelli broken up. You could use angel hair pasta broken up. And then our seasonings are going to be 6 tablespoons of chicken bouillon, a 1/4 cup of parsley. You could add 2 teaspoons of onion powder, which is optional, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic, and a 1/4 teaspoon of thyme. And then you want to make sure all of this is mixed up. We are going to shake this up in our jar. And I probably will, oh no, it looks like it's mixing up okay. You want to make sure it's mixed up really well because you're not going to use this entire jar in one sitting. I mean, you might if you're making a lot. But to cook this, you're going to place 1 cup of the mix with 2 tablespoons of butter in a heavy saucepan with 2 1/4 cups of water. You're going to bring it to a boil. And then you're going to cover it and reduce the heat, and you're going to simmer it for 15 minutes until your rice is tender. So you just want to make sure that this is all mixed up. So there we have our 3rd rice side dish all ready for our pantry shelf. And I did write the instructions on top of the lid so that I have it. And then we're going to do a similar recipe next, but it's going to be a broccoli cheddar, I believe, rice-a-roni. All right, so let me get set up for that. Okay, our next recipe is going to be our copycat rice-a-roni broccoli cheddar rice. So we need a cup of rice. And then to that, we're going to add a 1/3 cup of broken vermicelli pasta. You could also use angel hair. We're going to do a 1/4 cup of cheddar cheese powder. Where's my 1/4 cup? Right here. And then in this bowl we have 2 tablespoons of powdered milk, 2 tablespoons of powdered milk. I'm getting confused here. And then a tablespoon of chicken bouillon, a teaspoon of parsley flakes, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And we are also going to add in 2 tablespoons of broccoli, which is good. I'm using freeze-dried broccoli. And you do kind of want to crush it up a little bit. All right. And then to cook this, you are going to drop your lid. Please hold. Okay, so to cook this in a skillet, you are going to melt 2 tablespoons of butter. You're going to add the contents of the jar, and you're going to lightly toast it for 2 to 3 minutes until our pasta starts to brown a little bit. Then we're going to stir in 2 1/2 cups of water, or you can do 2 cups of water and 1/2 cup of milk if you want like a creamier rice. We're going to bring that to a boil, and then we are going to reduce the heat to low, cover, and simmer it for 15 to 20 minutes. So that is also ready for our pantry shelf. And again, I did write the instructions on the top of my jar. And we have one more rice back, which I think is my favorite rice. So please hold a minute. Okay, our last recipe is going to be easy yellow rice. We're going to do a cup of rice, which I'm going to mix and match. have my short grain rice, which is my favorite rice. And I'm going to use up some basmati rice as well. So we're going to do 1.5 cups of rice to our jar. And then to that, we are going to add our spices, which is, you could add 3 tablespoons of minced onion, which I don't have. You could do 6 tablespoons of minced onion. You're going to do a teaspoon of ground turmeric, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of fine salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. We're going to add all that to our jar. We're going to make sure that it is well incorporated and everything is mixed up together. Shake it. And then to cook this, we are going to add, if I can think here, we're going to add 1.5 cups of water, bring it to a boil, and then we're going to add to that 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil and a cup of our rice mix. We're going to reduce the heat, cover it, and then we're going to simmer it for 17 to 20 minutes. And you could also use chicken bouillon to cook this in, and it is delicious. But I used to get this yellow rice when I lived in California, and it was just so good. So before you use it, you just want to make sure everything is mixed up together. So you're going to use half this jar with the water and the oil, and then cook it. All right, guys, so let me get this cleaned up and I'll be back. So the other thing that I like to do when I'm doing my shelf-stable mixes is once I get everything in the jar, I'm going to go ahead and I have this handy-dandy vacuum sealer. It's going to seal the jar up to make it airtight so that it stays fresh, and these can stay on your shelf anywhere from 12 to 18 months. So I just do this, and then I can put this vacuum sealer in my Amazon store as well, so that you guys, if you are interested in one, you can find it easily. And then it just pops off, and then it's sealed in there, airtight. And I will just do this on all of them. I have this vacuum sealer comes with the attachment for the regular mouth lid as well as the wide mouth. And these are phenomenal. I just love these. I've actually gone through 2 of them already. I've been using them for years. And you can kind of hear the sound change. And that's how you know that it is sealed. Just pushes on. And I just put the rings back on these just because they're a dry mix. I'll just put the rings back on just in case. But I've never had a problem with the seal failing, but I do it just in case. You shouldn't normally, like on canned foods and stuff, I won't leave the ring on, but on the dry mixes I do. Did that one just come undone? It did. All right, well, we'll redo that one. Interesting. You could also put oxygen absorbers in your jars if you feel, safer doing that as well. Your kitchen, your rules. All right, it's sealed now. All right, guys, there you have it. 5 shelf-stable rice mixes that you can make for an easy weeknight dinner. They will be good on your shelf for anywhere from 12 to 18 months. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up notification to let the algorithm know that you enjoyed the video. And if you're interested in seeing how I use these mixes, as well as seeing other recipes that I make, go ahead and make sure you hit that bell notification so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And starting in January, it is Pantry month. So it's the Pantry Challenge put on by Three Rivers Homestead, and I will be using everything in my pantry and not going to the grocery store. So make sure you hit that bell notification so you get notified every time I upload a new video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks. Bye.